Welcome everybody to the Halcyon Folds here. My name is Valdez. Joining with me is Tasty Bacon. And we do have an awesome game lined up for you guys tonight. We just have Blueberries going through all the picks and the bans. And what do you think about it, Tasty Bacon?
You know, I'm actually, it's going to be very close. You know, neither team really strikes me as being, super. There's not really super combos being put together here. Like, a lot of teams like to do, a Celeste with a Arden or Scarf with Arden, things like that. But there's not really any one big focused AoE comp other than, I guess the Vox individuals. We're actually having our first fight here in the bottom of the map, 3-on-3, and it is actually going to be Soul Killer taking a ton of damage here, but it will be instead the Jewel going down for first blood. Anna Marie needs to be very careful, dropping really low on this Catherine, but they actually turn their attention onto Mike on the Scarf instead. So maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity, especially with Vox there, having the actually not taking the Sonic Zoom due to being only level 1. Bit of a missed opportunity. Could have definitely grabbed a second kill, but in the end, a 1-for-1.
Yeah, kind of interesting there. I think getting a bit greedy, thought that he could actually shoot the Catherine over the wall, but Catherine just barely getting out there in time. So kind of an interesting play. Not going to make all too much of a difference. These two teams tied right now at 1.1k to 1.1k gold. The one thing that really struck me as kind of interesting from the ban pick phase was the fact that there is no Celeste. It was not banned, it was not picked, and they decided to pick up Scarf first, which, as you guys know, over in Korea, we just had a ton of Celestes being picked, like Celeste on Celeste with that blind pick kind of situation we got over there in the finals between Gangstars and Huntars. So I was kind of interested by that myself.
Even over in EU earlier today, there was every game had a Celeste either picked or banned, and then we had a couple of series that went the distance, and of course the third game in the best of 3 here at VGL is a blind pick, and I believe the 2 of those that we saw both had Celeste against Celeste. So really surprising, as you mentioned, to not see that hero just make it through completely untouched in picks and bans.
Yeah, I mean, some teams, of course, the Vox is still very, very strong. I can understand that kind of pick, but the Scarf pick over the Celeste is the one that really does get me.
Yeah, a lot of times it is, when Celeste is taken off the table, teams will fall back onto the Scarf, but it's not usually Scarf being valued over the Celeste, as again, teams rotating together. When Vox wants to come down to shop, it's the entire team is in that area. Although we see Jewel taking a good chunk of damage from those scout mines. And just going to be backing off instead of going for any tricky play in the lane.
Yeah, nice bit of vision gained here by the Nemesis team. Going to set up some scout traps, but as you guys do see, cleaning them all up now. A very good job done here. Overall, a pretty passive game outside of that first team fight. Not much going on. These two teams kind of missing each other in the jungle. Just pushing the lanes, trying to see what they can get in terms of vision on the map as well.
Yeah, definitely. We do see, the more vision being played around, and I'm not too surprised to see teams playing it a bit safer here, as we actually can have a bit of a skirmish in the bottom.
Yep, going for that stun here, gets it onto, looks like the glaive here, and doing a ton of damage. The Scarf is going to come down, though, and join the fight, but can they really pull it off? A huge afterburn is going to catch Jewel, but it looks like he will not go down just yet.
Yeah, everyone backing away to safety, and as I was touching on, I really feel like it's going to be a lot of that, a lot of fights that kind of end up without a kill, because there's so much on the line. Of course, whoever wins this match ends up securing their spot in the VGL Season 1 and secures themselves a piece of that cash prize pool. All the top 8 teams are guaranteed at least, I believe it's $250. So definitely, loser goes home with nothing. Winner is guaranteed a spot in Season 1 and cash money.
Essentially on the bubble here in this tournament, and when you're there, you always do want to play passive, but Unfortunately, in this game of Vainglory that we do have, being aggressive can oftentimes pay off for you. So we'll see. So far, I mean, picking up the gold mine here. This Nemesis doing a pretty nice job for them. They weren't really able to pick up any kills in that little skirmish they had earlier on, but we do have a fight actually going on here. A huge, big red button coming down, and they will get the kill onto Catherine. Arden getting very low as well, but they will pick up Glaive as well. Scarf just gonna back off.
Yeah, really good job there by Nemesis to pick up those 2 kills. A huge rocket leap into Big Red Button coming from the Jewel. And of course, when the game is this passive, you see level 6 is getting hit really early. Already both junglers at level 6 with under 6 minutes. And so that's just a sign of efficient farming through the jungle, and of course, not having a whole lot of skirmishes. Because while the skirmishes, if you can come out ahead on them, is really nice, if you end up going even, you're really just wasting a lot of time looking for those fights that you could be farming.
Yeah, for sure. And you really got to hand it to Hardik here on that Jewel, really setting everything up so far. Doing a really nice job skirmishing early on, not taking too much damage, but kind of, getting a bunch of damage for herself before the fights even really were engaged on by the Glaive, the opposite side jungle. So doing a really nice job on that red Jewel, the weapon power Jewel, and I've been liking his play so far.
Yeah, Coed's in the lane doing a really good job as well. Of course, with Vox able to use those ricochets from Pulse to clear the lane so quickly. You see how fast those minions do die. But here goes Jewel going in.
Yeah, going in is going to be stunned here by the Catherine. Is just going to have to back off. Just taking a bit of damage once again. So far, I mean, all these trades really helping out Nemesis here. Not really taking too much damage. None of them are going down either. So never really allowing an opportunity for Vertigo to ever go for this gold mine or really take any big objectives.
And gold mine is filling up with the gold, and of course, once it does fill up, it will be a 300 gold payout for every player on Nemesis, assuming it doesn't get taken before then. You see the minion candy being popped onto the miner, so that if Vertigo does attempt to steal that away, it will be significantly more difficult. But looking at the lane, Coed's now 84 minions killed to only 57 on the side of Vertigo, and Mike 83 on the Scarf.
Now we're going to have a bit of an engagement here. Jewel gets the nice stun onto Glaive. He's looking for that afterburn, and he will get it. Hardik getting very low. The Vox is going to be able to line up a really fantastic ult, doing a ton of damage here in the back. Everyone on Vertigo is very low, but it doesn't look like Nemesis is going to be able to pick up these kills.
Yeah, they got one out of there. They did pick up the Jewel, but just getting the one, not quite enough to make them comfortable to really do anything else, as Mike 83 is going to get caught out on the wrong side of the map, and that will be another kill going over to the side of Nemesis. First one picked up by Coeds.
Yeah, kind of just staying a little bit too long. His teammates already recalling out of there, not staying for all too long, and that's really not going to allow Vertigo any time to even think about going for this gold mine. And even now, I mean, Vox in the lane going to push it up once again. The turret taking a bit of damage, getting even further ahead in farm. Yeah,
their gold mine is literally just about to pay out any second now, so they are going to be getting that big 900 gold swing in their favor. There it is, pushing them up to almost over a 4,000 gold lead here at 9 minutes. And they don't have a huge lead on the scoreboard in terms of kills, but 4,000 gold in 9 minutes is pretty huge.
Yeah, it's not something you can ignore for sure. I mean, looking at the Jewel right now, already got a Sorrow Blade and big amount of armor here built up with a weapon infusion waiting. So anytime they do want to go for a fight, he's going to be so effective. Trying to jump in here onto the Scarf, going to do a bit of damage, but not going to be able to find much more.
Yeah, and talking about that gold lead, you can just see the difference in it by looking at the items. Scarf is sitting on an Eve of Harvest and then 2 crystal bits, while Vox already has an alternating current, a piercing shard, and a heavy prism. So already almost finished with the I just completely drew a blank.
Broken Myth.
Yes, Broken Myth. I was talking about it so much during the EU, and I just completely forgot what it was called there. But
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's already close to having that second item finished. And actually, it's just so huge of a lead that he has over the Scarf. And it's gonna be really difficult for Vertigo to come back in this one.
Yeah. Gauntlet going down here, and once again, Mike83 is going to be caught out here on that Scarf. And still not much going right so far for this Vertigo team. I have to say, Glaive has had some decent engages, but they haven't really been able to pick up too many kills off the back of it.
Yeah, they're even willing to just go dive under the tower, take a tower shot or two, and then get back out. And of course, towers do significantly more damage than they did at this time last week. Actually, no, it was just before this time last week that they put in the hotfix. So it is the same as last week, but last week they did put in the hotfix that drastically increased the damage of the towers. As we see, Vox and Scarf do get out in the lane again, going fairly even that time, but that's still not a very good sign for the Scarf to be this far behind in terms of items to a Vox.
Yeah. Once again, Nemesis is going to be grouping up here. They've been working together as a team much more often, the three of them together, whereas oftentimes the Vox can be out of position in the lane farming after the Vox has... did I say Vox or did I say Scarf? I think the Scarf is out of position oftentimes after the Vox does push the lane. So, you know, the three of them on Nemesis just getting together into the jungle, able to push, you know, back Vertigo, get a ton of scout traps down, get a ton of vision, and oftentimes they can go for a 3-on-2 fight because that Scarf seems to be out of position so often. So just once again grouping up here before that turret. They really do want to take this down, but pretty nice positioning once again by Vertigo to just wait it out, be pretty passive here, not take too many losses, make sure that that turret cannot be pushed. So once again, grouping up. The minion candy going to be put onto that gold miner. And it's just going to push out the lanes once again. That gold mine is about to complete here in just a second as well. But not really much that Vertigo can do. Oh, and we do have a big kill here, actually. Vox going to be able to take down Glaive, but going for the jewel, getting pretty low. Reflex block going to be procced, but he is going to go down as well. Sorry, guys, it looks like we did lose Tasty Bacon for just a bit. He will be back.
I will just jump in with you for that a little moment. I guess, yeah, as you said, we probably lost him for a second. Sorry about that, but he should be back any second. So Donjon talking if stream doesn't recognize my voice. I do also have informations actually, so when I'm talking already you can continue. Team Aloha, seed 17, played against Gangsters Cerberus, seed 1. And they, not to say, well, they went over them without any mercy. And they won in a 16-1, very fast. They played Vox. Team Aloha played Vox, Adagio, and Celeste. They banned Rona, and Gangsters played Glaive, Arden, and Scarf, and banned Taka. Yeah, very quick game, even quicker than this one is going and evolving for Nemesis. So just because I saw a lot of people already asking in chat about the Gangsters match.
So I assume you're talking about the fact that Gangsters did win that match, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Which is it's still a different Gangsters. Which one? Besides from the one you are casting in or casted in Seoul.
Yeah, of course. That whole Gangstars team, the two of them, and the rest of them doing very, very well, as is to be expected from the first seed.
Yeah, obviously. It's going to be interesting how far this Gangsters team will be able to come and actually maybe be able to get seed 8, as we do see a nice rocket leap out of the Afterburn, or more likely the punt out of Soul Killer on Vertigo.
Jewel taking a bit too much damage here. Another Spitfire going down. She's going to have to back off and just regen some of this health, because they can't really take a team fight when the Jewel is this low now.
Also, I mean, you mentioned the Splitfires, they're hurting so much already. He's sitting on a 128 farm, so that is a perfect lane, you would say at least, but then you're looking at Codis and he's sitting on 170 farm. I mean, I once heard from one of these on Team Rin, Xenotech, that's his name. He said, like, normally as a laner you should do like 10-ish last hits a minute, and he's even, I mean, he's even over it, right?
Oh yeah. To be over it at this point just shows real mastery of the lane, especially on that Vox. You know, sometimes if you're not paying attention, you know, the bouncing stuff, they can mess with your last hits, but this guy's been hitting almost everything. And I assume also getting some of those extra creeps from the jungle. But even so, the Jewel sitting at about 100 minions killed as well, so not really hurting there either. Vox not really stealing her farm.
Yeah, right. And also, I mean, he's killing as well, like sitting on 3-0, a perfect game so far for him. As mentioned, is soon to close in on the 200 mark, which is crazy after 17 minutes. Nemesis looking very strong. I mean, if I'm remembering right, I believe Fuji, who's now playing on Gangsters, was a former Nemesis player. And, I mean, they are still very strong. We do know Hardik, we do know Lost by Toff. Not quite sure Blu-rays. Do you know about Codis? Do you heard of him?
Yeah. I think he played also in another North American VGL event. I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely recognize him from the name. Okay. And yeah, therefore, very nice to see that Gangsters is establishing still this high competitive team spirit and showing off here great performance. I mean, of course, everyone knows Fuji was like the guy bringing the picture outwards from Nemesis, and everyone recognized him and brought him in connection with this team. But of course, the esports scenes develops, and therefore,
I believe actually we do have Bragg back. Is that right?
Yep, I have no idea what just happened. My router just completely reset on me without any kind of warning, so that was fantastic.
Yeah, I think my router doesn't warn me either when he goes offline, but nonetheless, welcome back. So let's continue with the match.
Yeah, just Nemesis continuing with their domination, not really being too aggressive here. Looks like they're finally going to be able to push down this first turret, but Vox getting afterburned here is going to use the boots, will not get stunned by that gauntlet, just going to be fighting within here, and Mike and Glaive are going to be both hit by that wave for it. Now it's all left up to Catherine to just try to get out of this fight alive, but it doesn't look like she will. That's going to be an ace here to Nemesis and the first turret.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those situations where sometimes when you get caught in the gauntlet, it's just better to take the stun and try and get out of there. Instead, he stayed inside, kind of danced around, didn't really get anything done during that time, and ended up falling anyway. So there was, you kind of have to weigh, are you going to be able to just fight inside the gauntlet, or do you just want to take the stun and take your chances of getting out while they're maybe focusing a teammate? It's really selfish to do, but if it ends up with 2 members alive to defend a turret instead of 1, sometimes it's just a lot of worth in that action. As Hardak using the Rocket Leap to jump on over the wall, and they claim that second minion mine, now putting their attention possibly onto the Kraken. Knowing just how far ahead they are, they can easily force this objective.
Yeah. Looks like my game froze a little bit, so why don't you go ahead and continue just saying what's going on as I try to get back online.
No worries.
Yeah, it is just Lost Boy Toff starting off the Kraken now for Nemesis, and as predicted, there's not really going to be too much attempt at stopping it from Vertigo, although with the Jewel leaping out, now they're going to come in, and now they're interested in the fight, but it is going to be Coez on the backside doing a ton of damage, completely zoning out both Catherine and Scarf on their own. However, it was actually the Kraken getting stolen by by the glaive there in an absolute hero play, getting the regen onto Mike to keep him alive. The Kraken unfortunately won't really be able to do a whole lot for them as it's already below half health, but it keeps the Kraken out of the enemy team's hands, but it does keep them from getting a potential 500 gold each.
Yeah, so definitely not worth here the steal, but definitely a hero play from Soul Killer on Vertigo. Great steal here, but Nemesis on the way here to take down the Kraken way before the first tower got hit.
Yeah, so without the, you know, again, a hero play to take the Kraken away, but you almost have to wonder if it was even worth it, because that's 1,500 gold going back over to Nemesis, as well as they got the 2 kills.
Yeah,
you stop the Kraken from pushing into your base, but how much is that really worth?
it's kind of a scary position. You know, they're on their last 2 turrets, but at the same time, they do have a Scarf on their team. Can kind of burn it down pretty fast, but I don't know. It's a split-second decision there, and at least they're not going to have that Kraken pushing onto their base, but now they're going to have a highly beefed-up team here from Nemesis. Gauntlet is going to go down as my game kind of freezes here again.
Yeah, they are going to pick up the kill onto Glaive, and Nemesis just really bullying their way into the enemy base. Not really a whole lot that Vertigo can do about this. Down 12-3 on kills, down almost over 15,000 gold here. That is just an immense amount. The items are just, there's far too much built. They're pretty much just diving in underneath this turret, not even caring. Just as soon as they have minions going in, taking the turret out. Now they're going to turn some attention onto the enemy heroes. But the turret is still standing, so they do need to be really careful having Coeds tank that one up on the back end.